So the weekly challenge is the Origins challenge. Let's get straight to it and see what we got. Campsite, free the survivors and kill the walkers in the campsite. Okay, Michonnne is our leader. She's got a very interesting leadership trait, which is specific to melee characters. So, gonna have her. I'm gonna bring this little trio, which is Ezekiel and Tyrese. And the fun thing is, they are all armed with maces. The mace is an absolutely magnificent weapon. And of course, all bruiser characters, all warriors are going to start off charged. So that's a big bonus. So we free these guys and off they flee. I don't think we're done yet. I think more walkers are going to appear. Yes, they do. Great. Thinning the herd kicks in. That means we get an extra attack. It can also mean that you have a reduced threat counter. It can take the threat counter down by 1. Not a problem here, not a consideration, because we don't have a threat counter. Pretty simple stuff, that mission. Go up those. What didn't look like there were any special walkers or anything. Just go up to them, take them out. It could be a tricky one later on when there were more walkers, maybe unique walker types. Could be that when you free those survivors who are struggling, sometimes it can be a case of the walkers on the map will catch them, and they get killed and you lose the mission. As it is, though, that looks like a nice gentle one to lead with. If you should happen to have any trouble with that mission or any of the others in this weekly challenge, do say, and I'm sure that I or somebody else can help. Bang on the door of the CDC. Okay. Here's where the pizza guy comes in. Yeah, let's do this. Ezekiel and Michonnne are going to be the bouncers. Glenn is going to be knocking on the door and trying to get entry to the club. I mean, I could actually get him banging on that door in just right away. Not such a great idea because, of course, we do have some walkers right there. Michonnne should just be able to just outright kill these guys. Yeah, there we go. Let's get Glenn on the door. And what can we do since we're Glenn? We can knock on the door twice. We've got some reinforcements coming in for the walkers there. We can do this. We can do that. Simple. Actually, having Michonnne as the leader is pretty good for this because you could kill those walkers that appear and then you just go back to banging on the door. Bringing Glenn along means that you can do it twice. Looked like we need a total of, how many was that? 4, 5, 6. You can go back and count them. How many times you need to knock on the door. But yeah, Michonne's a great choice for the leader for this. Glenn is a fantastic team member as well. So there's some good synergy in that team. And that is the team that I would suggest. Don't stand there trying to figure out some way to fend off that unending horde of undead. Just do the job. Open the door. That's what the mission objective is. Thin the horde attacking the farm. Okie dokie. So thin the horde. What's Michonne's leadership trait? Thinning the herd. That's kind of the same thing, right? Let's get to it. Everyone's starting off charged. I think Tyrese could be a good one here. His circle not only damages walkers, but slows them down. So he's pretty good when it comes to these kind of crowd control-y type things. Boom. Boom. I think the walkers appear from all sorts of places, not necessarily from the edges of the screen. Yeah, that's correct. So there you go. There is something to keep in mind. I think we can get a good number of them taken out there, so let's do that. Let's move Ezekiel here. because of his skill, he will get an attack on any walker that comes for him. Guess they didn't fancy it. And all of my melee characters have got weaken and persistence. Such good skills. They give you a chance for additional charge points, or to just simply hurt the enemy more, which is very welcome. Especially when you're using a melee team. They don't... You know, scouts obviously hit very hard, but bruisers and warriors, not so much. They're not really there to deal out damage as such. So having a trait which can make them more effective at actually hurting what they're hitting, always very welcome. Okay, we are halfway through the selection of missions for this Origin challenge, and I am quite liking the fact that we've got Michonnne as the leader. I think she's suiting this pretty well. Bonfire survived 5 turns. I think because warriors are starting charged, we're going to keep with this team. Now, obviously, we're not going to get much value out of one aspect of her leadership trait, which is the ability to reduce the threat, but still. Now, I may have made a mistake. Maybe what I should have done is bring at least one ranged character, because what happens when a melee character hits a target that's on fire? They start taking damage. And all of these guys are on fire. So that ain't good. Let's do this. Might find ourselves using another health pack. Because, yeah, we've got to hit these targets. And we're going to get burned. Let's try and balance it out, shall we? Ezekiel is in perfect health, so maybe he should be over here, taking on the Bernie ones. But yeah, so for this one then, so for Bonfire, bring a ranged character. Yeah, I kind of need you to do that. Take the hit there. Now, it said 5 turns. How many turns have we had? 4, I guess. Tough little fella, aren't you? Okay, so yeah, I mean, definitely bring a ranged character. It looks like you have to be in these particular spots on the bottom left of the map to escape as well. And even when you have finished the main part of the mission, the burning walkers coming out of the barn, more will appear. So be ready for them. Not a tricky mission. I think it's one of the ones where you could definitively say, yeah, you know what, ranged characters are a better choice. They're not going to hurt themselves by completing the mission, by attacking those burning walkers. Definitely one to remember. Maybe Herschel would be a good bet, because he can weaken targets. If you do have to hit them, you want to make sure that you're putting them down. And if you can guarantee that they're weakened, that makes that easier. But maybe an assault character with a weapon that will slow down the enemy, that could be a good idea. Eventually they will burn out, they will kill themselves, but get through the gate, into the alley, and kill the boss. I'm sticking with the same mace-wielding team. At a certain point, you know, these characters would start getting very resistant to attacks by just a lowly warrior. So, got to bear that in mind. And I'm going through the alley, trying to find a boss walker. Now, where is this boss walker? Is he going to jump out at us? Thinning the herd, kicking in. We're not reducing the threat, but we are getting those extra attacks. Now, okay, let's leave it a turn. Let's just Just let that threat counter tick over. See what happens. Okay, nothing too scary. Let's open this door. Now, where is this boss walker that it was talking about? Go back and bash some heads in. There's the boss walker. Okay. So it looks like an armoured walker. He just pops out from there. Make sure that you've got a little something ready to go. One turn after you start working on the gate, he makes his appearance. So ensure that you have some people over to the right side of the map when that happens, ready to smash in an armoured walker. You don't want to have like your other two team members halfway across the map dealing with those approaching walkers or anything like that. You need to have them there ready to guard the person who is opening the gate. And because that was an armored walker, you could do things like smash them against the edge of the screen to stun them, you know, things like that. It does say that you do need to kill it. So yeah, something that will cause a lot of harm to a walker type that is resistant to harm. Get to the van. Use camouflage if you want to walk among the walkers. Okay. Could this be a job for Glenn? It could be. It could be. Let's stick with the team that we are using. And let's see what happens, because at the moment, and I don't want to get too cocky here, I don't think that we need to really disguise ourselves. We should, and that can be a very dicey word to use, we should be able to deal with these guys. Yeah. It's getting to that point though. You can see where the walkers are starting to take, you know, maybe a couple of hits per turn, take them out. As we move through the ranks, it's going to increase. They will become relatively tougher. So we've got to be ready for that. So there's some things to interact with here. A bag. How many turns does that take? We're going to have more walkers flooding out. Nope. Just one turn. Okay, if we had Glenn, he would have been able to do that and then maybe move to where Ezekiel is. It's okay because we got through this quite rapidly. I'm going to start moving towards what looks like the exit space. Yeah, I would stand by the idea that Glenn could be a good addition to this. You do have those guts in those buckets that you could use, as well as your own supports. You know, guts is a support that will help you get past walkers. As will Walker Mike, the Whisperer's Mask. If you have those supports, they can be handy in these kinds of missions, because you don't need to kill the walkers, you just need to distract them. Flares as well. Throw a flare, rush past them. Again, it's not always about just how many enemies you can mow down. There is an objective, and if it is to escape, that's what you should be focusing on. Okay, now have we spun around to the top? 666 stars. I like it. Yeah, we're back at the start. Okay, fun set of missions, this one. I could see it getting tricky as the difficulty increases. But do your best. If you have any dramas, let people know in the comments. I'm sure they can help. And as ever, thank you for watching.